Hey Crafternooners, welcome back to the library. So today I have another craft that's done with a toilet paper roll. I know it sounds very simple, but they end up being super cute. And you can make them in many different colors. Little unicorns, look at that. Oh, they make my heart happy. So all you need for this project is a toilet paper roll or 5 and different colors of paper, glue stick, scissors, a thin Sharpie, a pinkish colored marker, some light pink paint, and you don't need very much. You can see it's not even falling off of my paper plate there. Or you could just use your pink marker for what you'd use the paint for as well. And you also need either a hot glue gun if you're comfortable with a hot glue gun, or if you have someone who can help you with a hot glue gun. Or I'm going to try to do this one with just some really strong packing tape. I do not think that regular tape will help. So the first step, we need to cover our toilet paper roll in paper. So you lay the toilet paper roll on your paper and measure how big it needs to be just from where the toilet paper roll ends. Just give it a little bit of a snip. And once you've made your mark, in order to make sure that it's straight, you just fold the paper back using that mark as a guide. And if you make it match edge to edge on the side, this side will be straight as well. And snip along the crease that you've just made. There. So now we're going to glue this piece of paper to cover our toilet paper roll. If you're really into paint, you could paint your toilet paper roll ahead of time as well. You just have to give it plenty of drying time before you start trying to do the rest of the project. And once you get one side glued on, just roll it up and glue the end down. And there we have a lovely little white unicorn. So, next step is to make its tail and its fringe here. So, multicolors rainbow yarn. Can you see all the colors I have? So many colors. Another thing you could do as well is use some strips of multicolored paper if you do not have yarn. So, if you do have yarn, you gather the ends of each of your colors of yarn up in your fingers, plural. It's really difficult to hold something with just one finger. Oh, where's my end? Wow, I didn't plan this out well before I started filming, did I? There we go. There's my other end. And all we have left is my green. And once you have them all gathered up like this together, you need to pinch them between your thumb and finger and spread your fingers out a little bit like this and just start rolling them, keeping your fingers spread. You do not want your fingers tight, and you're just making a big loop around your hands. So depending on how many strands of yarn you have, I would say go like 5 or 6 times around your hand, and then you can cut it right off. Get my yarn out of the way, and it's rolling across the floor, unraveling, of course, because that's how it works. So now if you carefully slip it off, you can see you've got this big circle of yarn. Now you don't want to let go of that. You want to keep that open like this, because the next step is having a piece of yarn that you snip. You want to put it through the hole and tie it in a knot to keep it safe and tight, just like that. Then, holding it by where you've tied it, we are going to take our scissors and snip. Cut through that other little yarn. You can trim off your edges because I kind of messed up with my binding, but that's fine. So now you've got a thick thing of yarn that's tied in the middle. Now, I need you to be able to see this. Now you need another piece of yarn, because this one piece is actually going to be the tail and the fringe, the forelock of your unicorn. So halfway in between one of those sections, you're going to tie it again. So now your entire strand, as you can see, you tied it in the middle, and then you tied it in the middle of one of the sides. And you're going to snip it right in between the two knots that you have tied, right like that. And now you can see you've got one long one, one short one. The long one's for the tail, the short one is for the forelock of your unicorn. Now, we are going to do the tail first. And like I said, I'm going to try to use some packing tape for this one. So the back of your unicorn is where your crease is. So put your tail there and the piece of packing tape. Tape your unicorn's tail on. Yeah, that worked pretty well. Hopefully she still stands up. Yep, she does. And now it's going to be a little bit trickier to do the forelock because you're going to need to tape it on the inside. So you're going to put it on the very short end and you're going to tape it to the front of your unicorn. I need to trim this down. It's way too long. Way too long. I'm not going to be able to get it inside my tube. Like I said, if you have an adult or if you are competent enough to use a glue gun, hot glue gun on your own, it probably will be easier and you'll get better results with a hot glue gun. There. See this fringe? I think it's a little bit long. I'm going to trim it just a little bit. Give him a haircut. Another nice thing about using a hot glue gun is I'll show you. See how his fringe kind of sticks up straight there? If you're using a hot glue gun, or even if you have some double-sided crafter's tape, underneath his fringe on his forehead, run a line of glue or crafter's tape, and then you can press his fringe down and it will be more flat. I just burnt myself. Be careful. Careful, I care about you. Don't hurt yourselves. There. So, next comes the unicorn horn. So using a piece of cardstock, you can color it if you want to or paint it. I just happen to be lucky enough to have some glittery craft foam here that I used for my unicorn horns. You can either tape or glue it to the back of your unicorn's fringe. This is where crafter's tape and hot glue would come in the most handy, is when you're putting on these little tiny things, because they're tricky to just tape on. There, you see how I glued it on the inside? And we have to make some ears. So, making the ears, to make it more simple for yourself, just cut yourself a strip of white paper. I'm doing mine, oh, I don't know, 2 centimeters. And so that your ears are identical, fold that piece of white paper in half and then cut out your ear shapes, because then both will be the same if you cut it all together. So there are my ears. You can see on this little friend that there's some pink in the middle of their ears, so that's where your pink marker comes in. Let's color it in. You can do it whatever color you want, because really unicorns are magical creatures and it doesn't matter what color their ears are. Tricksy part next that you might need help with. So to make the ears, you need to fold it in half and pinch it a little bit Don't fold it all the way up. See how I'm just folding it in the center there? Then you take your finger, other hand, and bend it out, and then it kind of makes an ear shape. Then you can put some crafter's glue or some hot glue on that ear and stick it and hold it until it dries inside your unicorn's head. Just like that, poking up from behind its fringe. I'll do the same thing with the other one. I'll show you again how I did that. So take the back of your ear and pinch it, but don't fold it all the way up. And then take your other finger, flatten this front part. Some glue and pop it on your unicorn and hold it until it cools a little bit. And there, now all she needs is a face. So for the faces, you can do whatever you want. I just did little cutesy pie eyes with a fine line Sharpie. You could even use just a plain old marker. You could do open eyes, but I am really, seriously, more crafty than I am artistic. So that's about as good as it gets for me. And to do their little cheekies, if you have a little sponge, you could use a little sponge, but also if you dip your finger in your paint, dip off a little bit of the excess and just dot some paint on to make some light pink cheekies so that your little guy is blushing a little bit. That's all it takes. Pretty simple little crafts, but they're super cute. Guys, thanks again for joining me for Crafternoon, and we'll see you again next week.